Did you know Pikachu likes ketchup because it sounds like Ash Ketchup's last name, Ash Ketchup? Or what about the fact that it took Snorlax over 20 years to stand up?
Stand up!
Or what about this? It took Misty Psyduck over 942 episodes to learn the move Water Gun properly. Pretty pathetic, Psyduck. And those are just 3 facts of the 151 hilarious facts that I'm going to cover in this video. Starting with Bulbasaur and ending with Mew. Let's see if these facts can make you laugh. Let's do this.
Bulbasaur. It was illegal to trade Bulbasaur in the global trade system due to its name having an offensive word in it, with the word being Sau, which means pig in German. Ivysaur. Ivysaur is a Pokédex entry that states that it has lost the ability to stand on its hind legs. But the thing is, its sprite is literally standing on its hind legs. You can't make this up. Venusaur. If you choose Charmander as your starter Pokemon, you will never be able to register Venusaur in your Pokédex, since no one in the game owns one. Charmander. Newborn Charmander apparently burn themselves with their tail, even though Fire-type Pokemon are completely immune to being burned. What a fail. Charmeleon. Ash's Charmeleon only appeared in 2 whole episodes before it evolved, and during one of those episodes, it lost to a Paris, a Pokemon that is 4 times weak to it. Charizard. Not only was Charizard unable to fly in the original games, but it also couldn't learn any flying type moves, despite it being a flying type. Squirtle. There's a scene in the 2004 Godzilla movie where a boy throws an action figure of Squirtle into a fire and insults it, which is probably a reference to Gamora. Wartortle. Ash's first reaction to seeing a Wartortle is that it doesn't look very smart. So I guess it has a dumb face, even though their tail symbolizes age and wisdom. Blastoise. Blastoise can literally fly. How is it doing that? Caterpie. It is literally impossible to beat the original games with a Caterpie, since there was no way for it to hit Ghost-type Pokemon in those games, even with struggle. Metapod. If a Metapod tips over, its insides spill out. Talk about a fragile existence. Butterfree. It was impossible for Butterfree to use a stab bug-type move in the original games, not even by TM. Imagine being a bug-type Pokemon and learning no bug-type moves. Weedle. Weedle is the only Pokemon that cannot learn a single normal type move out of all the Pokemon. Kakuna. Kakuna has a tie. Very professional. Beedrill. Beedrill needs an air balloon to be immune to ground type attacks, even though it is clearly flying. Pidgey. Pidgey is the easiest flying type Pokemon according to Ash's Pokédex, yet Ash still somehow manages to fail catching one. How embarrassing. Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto said to fiercely peck at any intruders, yet ironically, it can't even learn the move Peck. It even has the Big Peck's hidden ability, which is even worse. Pidgeot. Ash left his Pidgeot to protect the flock of Pidgey and Pidgeotto, promising to return after he was done with the Orange Islands. But he must have forgotten because he never returned, and it wasn't until 20 years later in Journeys that Pidgeot reappeared out of literally nowhere. Rattata. Youngsters Joey's Rattata isn't top percent, and I even proved it in my last video where I tested dumb Pokemon facts, and it turns out it is actually mid%.
Mid!
Raticate. Apparently we unalive the rival's Raticate in the original games, since it never shows up again after you battle it on the SS Anne, and by the time you meet him in Lavender Tower, where trainers mourn their lost Pokemon, it is mysteriously absent. Yikes. Spearow. You can just blatantly steal this guy's Spearow named Kenya after promising him to deliver a piece of mail to his friend, which is pretty hilarious. Fearow. This Fearow was used as a fake Ho-Oh in the anime, and completely failed and got obliterated by Ash's Pikachu. Which is pretty funny because originally in the first episode of the anime, I feel like we all thought that that shining Ho-Oh in the sky was actually a Fearow. At least I did. Ekans. Ekans is the one Pokemon that got scrapped from the original Pokemon Snap game. I guess it was just too ugly to take pictures of or something. Arbok. Apparently Seviper evolves into Arbok, according to this trainer's choice thing. Pikachu. Ash's Pikachu has a long history of loving ketchup in the anime, and it's probably because it's a pun on Ash Ketchum's name, which is kind of mind-blowing. It makes so much sense now. Raichu. The Raichu you trade to this random guy in Cinnabar Island apparently evolves. Grochu confirmed. Sandshrew. Sandshrews dexterity states that when it curls into a ball, it can make any attack bounce off effortlessly. Sandslash. In the Pokemon Red and Blue beta, Sandslash's original name was Sandstorm. Nidoran female. There was an official Pokemon ad in Korokoro that depicted Nidoran having baby Nidoran, and it looked like this. Nidorina. Nidorino's cry is mistakenly used instead of Nidorino's during the introduction with Professor Oak in the original games. Just listen. Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen cannot breed with Nidoking, or anything else for that matter, along with pre-evolution. It is literally the only basic Pokemon in the undiscovered egg group, weirdly enough. Nidoran male. Due to Nidoran having both a male and female variant, there are technically only 150 original Pokemon, since they're basically the same Pokemon, just with different genders. Nidorino. Nidorino is the first Pokemon ever shown to get attacked, so get owed. Nidoking, this Godzilla-looking beast, is only 4 feet tall, which compared to me is about this high. Clefairy. Winnie's Clefairy used Metronome in Ash's first gym match, and it hilariously resulted in a splash, and then was defeated before he could do anything else. So, epic fail. Clefable. Clefable is hilariously the best Pokemon to speedrun the original games with, if you're using a tool-assisted program, since you can manipulate its Metronome to be any move you like and get criticals with every hit. Vulpix. Vulpix's shiny used to be a beautiful golden brown color. Now it's just piss yellow and green. Ninetales. Ninetales is an error card in the training card game where its Fire Blast move shows no damage, earning it the infamous nickname the No Damage Ninetales. So canonically, this trading card is probably the worst Pokemon ever. Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff basically tries to unalive Team Rocket in the anime, since in the episode Freeze Frame, when Team Rocket is trapped in an icy cave, they mention that falling asleep could mean they will never wake up. And what does Jigglypuff do with this information? Well, it just casually strolls in and starts singing them to sleep. Savage. Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff's original sprite makes it look absolutely unhinged, as if it's plotting something very diabolical. Zubat. Zubat hilariously holds Squirtle in the original Pokemon anime opening, probably with super glue on its belly or something. Golbat. This is what Golbat looks like with its mouth closed. It's pretty cursed. Oddish. You can grow a giant Oddish in Hey You Pikachu by repeatedly watering it, to the point where it's as big as a giant building. Just look at it. Gloom. This is what Gloom looks like when it faints in Pokemon Battle Evolution. It is very extra with it. Vileplume. Vileplume has the chlorophyll ability, even though the Rafflesia plant is based on does not actually contain chlorophyll. So it's basically a liar.
Liar!
Paris. Paris is one evolution away from literally dying and being taken over by a fungus. Parasect. Thanks to Parasect's dry skin ability, it is the only Pokemon to naturally have a 5 times weakness, which in this case is fire. And Charmeleon still lost to a pathetic Paras. That's ridiculous. Venonat. Venonat had not appeared in original Pokedex for 22 entire years, from Pokemon Crystal to its return in Scarlet and Violet, and I feel like hardly anyone even noticed. Venomoth. Venomoth may have the shortest lifespan of all Pokemon, since it's the only ones that have a Dex entry stating so. Diglett. There's a minigame in the Pokeathlon that requires your Pokemon to jump, and hilariously, Diglett and his evolution are the only Pokemon that are completely useless in it, since they're incapable of jumping. Dugtrio. Dugtrio probably has the most hilarious memes. Like, just look at these. These are iconic. Meowth. Meowth from Team Rocket is unable to learn Payday, since apparently it traded away that move in exchange for learning how to talk. So I bet you Team Rocket is very upset with him about that, because they could be rich. Persian. Team Rocket's secret base in Pokemon Journeys has a wall poster of Giovanni with Persian torn off of it, since Meowth just hates it. Psyduck. It took Misty Psyduck 942 episodes to learn the move Water Gun properly, which is crazy. Golduck. Golduck literally has the wrong name, because Psyduck is actually a golden duck, and Golduck is actually a psychic duck. So what's up with that? Mankey. In the Legend Tale of Pikachu manga, Ash traded away a Mankey for a map of Mount Moon, which turned out to be fake. So this Pokemon basically got traded away for a worthless piece of paper. Primeape. Primeape literally can't reach its full potential until it dies. Growlithe. Growlithe can't learn Growl. Arcanine. Arcanine is known as the legendary Pokemon, but it isn't even legendary. Poliwag. Even though Poliwag has trouble walking on its newly grown feet, as stated in this Dex entry, it somehow has a faster speed stat than Suicune. Now, that is hilarious. Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl used to have fingers. Now it's basically forced to wear mittens for the rest of its life. Just look. Poliwrath. This man in Celadon City says that he hopes his Poliwrath will evolve into a frog Pokemon soon. Imagine the look on his face when he finds out that's not gonna happen. Abra. Abra has the highest flee rate in Pokemon Go, with 99% after escaping a Pokeball.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Kadabra. Kadabra didn't get a Pokemon card for over 20 years, allegedly due to the infamous lawsuit by Uri Geller. And as a workaround, Pokemon just straight up gave Abra a special ability that allowed it to directly evolve into an Alakazam, completely skipping Kadabra. So basically Kadabra is pretty useless. Alakazam. For being one of the smartest Pokemon in existence, Alakazam is ironically one of the worst Pokemon to use for the Pokeathlon, placing as a third worst. Machop. Machop has a tail. What? Machoke. Machoke canonically has a power save belt on his belly, meaning that we'll never be able to use his full power ever, which is hilarious because apparently it would be unstoppable. Machamp. According to the official Pokemon website, Machamp's underpants aren't clothing at all. So it is basically naked with whatever that is. What is that? Apparently that's actually part of his body. Bellsprout. In Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, there's a Bellsprout that is a leader of a squad called Team Flame, with both his teammates being Camerupt and Ponyta, which I feel like is not going to work out that well. Weavembell. James's Weavembell was the first main character's Pokemon to evolve off-screen, and nobody really cared. Victory Bell. Victory Bell's anime cry is pure gold. Just listen.
Eat your own food!
Tentacool. You can literally get an infinite amount of Tentacool from this guy in Cedarwood City, so that you don't softlock yourself on this island. Tentacruel. Tentacruel used to be cool. Geodude. Geodude was chosen as the mascot for Iwate Prefecture, Japan, since Iwate literally translates to rock hands in Japanese. And hilariously, its mascot costume has a PNG colored leggings. Just look at it. That is hilarious. Graveler. Graveler's favorite food are moss-covered rocks, which pretty much makes it a cannibal. Golem. This is what Golem looks like when it's using Mud Slap in Pokemon Stadium. Yeah. Ponyta. Whenever Ponyta evolved in the anime, for some reason, Ash started to glow too. So did Ash just evolve along with it? What is going on here? Rapidash. In this Pokemon newspaper strip, Gary's Rapidash literally lost to a Metapod using Hardened. How pathetic. Slowpoke. Slowpoke's tails are considered a delicacy, which has led people to cutting them off. And hilariously, Slowpoke won't even notice until an entire day later, because they're slow. Slowbro. Slowbro is canonically the only Pokemon that can fully devolve. Yeah. Magnemite. Magnemite was voted as the most popular Kanto Pokemon in 2021, getting even more votes than Pikachu, Charizard, and Eevee. So there must be like a cult following for Magnemite here or something. Magneton. Magneton weighs 10 times more than Magnemite, even though it's only 3 Magnemites. So where's all that weight coming from? Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is based on the Japanese phrase, "a duck comes bearing onions," which basically means a stroke of luck. So essentially, Farfetch'd is considered a lucky Pokemon to come across because it is just ready to be eaten. Doduo. Doduo can literally learn fly. This flightless bird can learn fly, and this is what it looks like. Dodrio. Dodrio is the first Pokemon we see in the flesh in the anime. Yes, a Dodrio, and it was in this scene right here. Seal. Seal is based on a seal. Dugong. Dugong is based on a dugong. Grimer. Grimer weighs the exact same as its evolution, so basically the only thing that changes with Grimer to Muck is that it gets angrier. Muck. Muck are literally exterminated by humans in the Pokemon world, since they scatter germs everywhere. Shelder. Shelder can just randomly float in Pokemon Snap for some reason, and it's never been seen do this in any other Pokemon media again since. And here it is, just floating in the air, all majestically. Cloyster. Cloyster has several Dex stating that its shell is impossible to open once clamped shut. Yet Kegler's Dex states that his 10,000 horsepower pincer can crack open both Shelder and Cloyster. However that unit of measurement works. I don't really know how that works actually. Ghastly. Ghastly learns Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, and Sucker Punch, even though it has no hands. Like these things. How do you do that without hands? Haunter. Minnie's Everstone Haunter. Enough said. Gengar. Gengar lost his levitate ability in Generation 7, so just imagine it happily floating around in the Kalos region, only to crash face first into the ground the moment it crosses the Alola border. That would be pretty hilarious. Onix. Onix has a lower attack stat than Oddish, a living leaf. Drowsy. Drowsy is famously known for eating dreams, yet it couldn't learn Dream Eater until Pokemon Let's Go, and hasn't been able to learn it ever since. So, what's that all about? Hypno. This was Hypno's reaction to Ash's Melton literally eating its pendulum. Yeah, I would have the same reaction actually. Krabby. Krabby isn't even a crab, since real crabs have their bellies tucked under their bodies. So, what the heck, Krabby? I trusted you. Kingler. Ash's Kingler was built different, because originally Ash caught it by shaking a stick at it, and then without training it somehow defeats a league caliber trainer, evolves, and then uses 8 different moves in a single battle. Like, okay, Kingler, calm down over there. Voltorb. This Voltorb in the Electrode's Pokédex entry picture is trying so hard to be just like Electrode. It's actually pretty cute. Electrode. Electrode likes to explode for fun, according to his Dex entry. Execute. The Execute with the yolk showing isn't dead, it's just chilling in the back, all happily like. Executor. There are now 2 Pokemon that were given long necks and the dragon typing in Pokemon, with them being Alolan Executor and Raging Bolt. If I had a Nick Cubone, there are official Cubone plushies where you can take off his skull. So technically, this is what Cubone actually looks like, I guess. Marowak. Marowak was the first Pokemon to canonically die. So, get owned. Hitmonlee. In the Pocket Monsters manga, Giovanni owns a Hitmonlee, who makes his debut as a businessman. Okay. Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan is infamous for being one of the worst rental Pokemon in Pokemon Stadium. Why, you may ask? Well, nearly all of his moves are special attacks, and his special stat is just downright terrible. Like, I know they can do elemental moves and all with his punches, but back then, those were special moves, so it sucks. Lickitung. Lickitung couldn't learn Lick in the original games. Dude, you had one job, Lickitung, you lick things. That is your thing to do. Lickitung. How do you not know Lick? Coughing. Coughing was supposedly first discovered in a public bathhouse, according to a Pokemon exam question in the anime, which is not the most flattering way to make your debut in the Pokemon universe. Wheezing. Galarian Wheezing can learn the most self-knockout moves out of any other Pokemon, with the moves being Memento, Self-Destruct, Explosion, and Misty Explosion. I guess it just didn't like life that much, or something. Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn, the pre-evolution of one of the very first Pokemon ever made, didn't get his own unique cry until Generation 6, because before that, it shared the same cry as Charizard. Just listen. And here's what it sounds like now. Rhydon. Blaine's Rhydon was defeated by Ash's Pikachu using Thunderbolt. Yes, a ground-type Pokemon got defeated by the move Thunderbolt. And keep in mind, this Pokemon later got the Lightning Rod ability, and was still defeated by the move Thunderbolt. Chansey. If a Chansey in Diamond and Pearl gets knocked out by a close combat, it suffers a slow and painful death, thanks to how the HP bar drains in those games. Yeah, it's still going. Yeah, it's still going. Look at it die. I'm sorry, Chansey. Tangela. Tangela originally couldn't learn the move Vine Whip. A Pokemon that's covered in vines couldn't learn Vine Whip. I guess it really is a Medusa head. Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan has the most extra animations in Pokemon Stadium, especially his fainting animation. Like, dang, son. Horsey. Horsey is technically the first Dragon Pokemon, being the very first to hold the title of Dragon Pokemon in the Pokédex. So, meet your true maker, Dialga Palkia, the true Dragon God, right here. Seadra. Seadra is down pretty bad because, for one, it's literally called the Dragon Pokemon. For 2, it has a ton of decks that just talk about its poisonous moves. And for 3, it gets the Poison Point ability. Yeah, it's neither a Dragon type nor a Poison type. So this whole Pokemon right here is just a liar. Liar! Goldeen. Goldeen is completely useless in Super Smash Bros. Just look at it. Look at it being useless. Seaking. Apparently Seaking has developed a cult following of fans that's hilariously divided up into 2 factions, the Horn Enthusiasts and the Fin Enthusiasts, according to his Dex entries. So let me know in the comments, are you a Horn or a Fin enthusiast of the Seaking cult? Staryu. Staryu is one of a handful of Pokemon that can learn the move Attract while being genderless, meaning that every time it tries to attract a Pokemon, it will fail. That sucks. Starmie. Starmie has a higher base out total than Lumineon. Yet Luminion's Dextergy states that it makes Starmie its prey. So, what a fail. Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime can be a female, even though it's a Mr. Scyther. This interaction with Scyther in the Johto remakes is just hilarious. Try not to hug Scythers. Jinx. Apparently Jinx talks in a language similar to humans, but it sounds like complete gibberish. And this is even referenced in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games with a bunch of random symbols that looks like this. Electabuzz. Electabuzz apparently goes into a rage whenever it sees the color red, which is pretty ironic, considering it's literally a version-exclusive Pokemon in Pokemon Red. Imagine the face it would have if it knew that. Magmar. Magmar's Japanese name is Boober, and it has boobers on his forehead. Pinsir. Pinsir couldn't defeat a Metapod in the anime. That's pathetic. Tauros. Paldean Tauros is the only fire-fighting type Pokemon to not be a starter Pokemon. Let that sink in. Magikarp. For one generation only, Magikarp can learn the move Hydro Pump, which hilariously made it one of the best NPC max raid partners in Sword and Shield, which is amazing. Gyarados. Gyarados, the mighty city destroyer, can be caught at level 1 in the Nature Preserve, making it one of the lowest level wild Pokemon that you can ever encounter in any Pokemon game. If not the lowest. I mean, it is level 1, but one of the few Pokemon. Not so mighty now. Lapras. Lapras went from being overhunted to near extinction to now thriving with an overabundance thanks to protection regulations. So basically, this one Reddit user right here single-handedly repopulated Lapras as a species. You did it. You son of a you did it. Ditto. It took Ditto 6 entire generations to finally get its own unique cry, as it originally shared the same one as Poliwag. And here's what it used to sound like. And here's this new, updated, unique cry. Eevee. Eevee's genes are so easily influenced by his surroundings that his face starts to look like that of his trainer. So basically, Vaporeon. Vaporeon will forever be known for that one internet creepypasta. Yeah. Jolteon. Jolteon is one of only 2 Electric-type Pokemon that can be paralyzed, because if you evolve a paralyzed normal-type Eevee, it will keep its status. What a fail. And the other Pokemon is Vikavolt. Flareon. Flareon can breed with Wailord. Yeah. Porygon. Porygon is technically the only Pokemon that is real, like in our world, that's actually real. This is canonically a digital Pokemon existing in cyberspace, which is literally what it is. It's a digital Pokemon in our game cartridges. So it is real. Omanyte. Omanyte has the same cry as Machop in Generation 1. You think that Lord Helix would have something more original and godly. You know what? Let's give it its own godly original cry, like this one. Omastar. Omastar went extinct because its shell became too big, making it impossible for it to catch prey. That's pretty pathetic. That sucks. Kabuto. Kabuto went extinct because it couldn't flip itself over when it was turned upside down. Okay, no, that is actually even more pathetic. That is worse than Omastar. Kabutops. There's nothing funny about Kabutops. It is just straight up a boss. Like, just look at it. Especially that awesome mega kick. Oh no, it just fell down. So, maybe it's not that awesome. Aerodactyl. There's a theory that Aerodactyl, once the mighty ruler of the skies in prehistoric times, the god of the wind, eventually devolved into a pathetic Zubat. And oddly enough, its shiny version makes this theory seem real, because they're both pink. So what the heck? Aerodactyl? You're just a lame Zubat now. Snorlax. It took Snorlax 20 whole years to stand up. And here's the progression. Here's 1996, 2002, 2006, 2008, 2009, 2010, and finally, after 20 years, 2016. You did it, Snorlax. You stood up. Good job. Articuno. In the Let's Find Pokemon book, there's an image of an Articuno inside of a fridge. Right there. I found him. Zapdos. Zapdos' Japanese name isn't even that original. It's just called Thunder, while Jolteon before it is called Thunders. So we have Thunder and Thunders. Moltres. Moltres literally looks like a rubber chicken without its flames. Yeah. Dratini. Dratini's debut episode got banned in the English dub, all because of this scene. Rest in peace, Dratini. Dragonair. Dragonair has a base out total of 420. Nice. Dragonite. Dragonite is supposed to be a pseudo-legendary Pokemon known for its incredible speed, capable of flying around the globe in just 16 hours, according to his Dex entry. Yet somehow it shares the same speed stats as this pathetic Magikarp. Like, okay. Mewtwo. In Gold and Silver, Wild Mewtwo are programmed to hold the item, the Berserk Gene. But the thing is, Wild Mewtwo are not even in the game. So, epic fail. And finally, for the last hilarious fact for the original Pokemon, we have Mew. Mew is supposed to be the ancestor of all Pokemon, yet it can't even get in the Pokedex before its own clone. Like, what is that all about?
And hey, check out this video where I test out dumb Pokemon facts. You'll be surprised that some of these are actually real.